You know, back when I was in the academy, we would follow every toast with a song. It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Come cheer up my lads, come cheer up my lads. 'Tis better to have loved and lost. 'Tis better to have loved and lost. Captain Jean-Luc Picard than never to have loved at all. To the Federation starship, come cheer up my lads, come cheer up my lads. 'Tis better to have loved and lost. Captain Jean-Luc Picard. 17346732147 Charlie 32789777643 Tango 732 Victor 73117887324767897643776. Lock. When I have plucked the rose, G.O. Grey hot, longing still for that which longer nurseth the disease. In faith, I do not love thee. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? When I have plucked the rose, longing still for that which longer nurseth the disease. In faith, I do not love thee. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? 'Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Come cheer up my lads, come cheer up my lads. 'Tis better to have loved and lost. Incredibly unbroken sentence, moving from topic to topic. No one had a chance to interrupt. It was quite hypnotic. Incredibly unbroken sentence, moving from topic to topic. No one had a chance to interrupt. It was quite hypnotic.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another Darachat. My name is Daramouthe, or Dara for short, because, first of all, alright, I'm just gonna put this out there. You guys are grown, you guys know how to spell, alright? You guys know how to sound your words, A-A-I-U, and sometimes Y. It's Daramouthe, not Daramouthe, alright? I'm gonna get the soap. I'm just joking. Anyway, thank you all for being here. Of course, I am joined. He's not have his cameras on, and that's fine. But I have the agent, Agent Guru on his X, and then it's Inscriptus on the Rumble. So hello, good sir.
Hi, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I am absolutely wonderful. Thanks for having me.
So that's the real question. Is okay. So why is your name not the same as on Rumble as it is on your X? Because that's the mismatch right there. I'm like, wait, it's weird.
Yeah. So actually, I just created Agent Guru in the last few months.
Oh, okay.
Business of mine,
Mm.
and just starting to create the engagement on there. I've never been on X before. Not one of those social media people.
Mm.
Encryptus has been my, I'd say, online identity for more than a few years.
Oh wow. Encryptus feels like the word itself feels like something that like encrypted, like something like people that know computers
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah, I'm a tech nerd. I think I came up with that when I was working in some Web3 project
Ooh.
and needed a name for some crypto project.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, the farthest I'll be straight here. The farthest my tech ability goes is the CompTIA Plus, which is not an easy thing to go to, especially when it costs you like a couple $100 because you have to take like 2 exams in order to get the what is it, the not the license, but it's just a certification, really.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was luckily I got into a program that my city was doing, and it was kind of free for me, but it still was a heck of a lot of it was so just to kind of get through it quickly, there was a program that my city was doing. Not going to give the city name away, but they were doing this thing, and then they were using Coursera, right? They were using Coursera to kind of do these course stuff, and it
Hmm.
was Google, I think it was, that was running the whole thing. Well, the funny thing was is that majority of the stuff that was in it was like 5 to 6 years old. So it's like
Nice.
so it's like nobody had done their research on is this stuff up to date, because the certification is the test itself renews every 3 years. So it's
Yep.
sort of, but I'm only seeing the shed on screen. What do you mean? Oh, oh, okay. That's weird. Hold on. I don't know why it's showing this shed on screen. Let's see if I can't change the. Okay. Um. Give me 1 second. Both browsers. Is it changed now? No, it hasn't
Yeah.
changed now.
There's a moon or something there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what I'm gonna try to do, I'm going to try to refresh the studio and see if it's not an update they've done, and I'll be right back. So give me 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. All right. Hopefully that worked.
There you are.
There we go. Okay, so yeah, it was just a refresh. Now I see a moon. Well, yeah, because I changed it. I just wanted to see if it was stuck on one thing or if I could change it. And of course, I changed it. So I was like, maybe we should refresh. So they've been doing some updates to Rumble Studio, and they've been a bit bothersome and all that stuff. So it works as is. But there we go. Okay, now we're on both. Now we're on both. All right. But anyway, what was I at? So that's right. The course there was Coursera is a Google thing, and they were about 5 or 6 years 5 or 6 years behind, and so it was kind of this learning curve of they had to get books, they had to get the correct books wise of being on, because again the CompTIA, the CompTIA plus, they have to do it every 3 years. There's an expiration limit on it. I think there wasn't
Yep.
beforehand, but anyway, yeah. So I had gotten it, and I really haven't used it much because I
Yeah. It's one of those certifications that I think that is outdated in its useful life. It's one of those things that employers kind of look for when they're hiring sometimes,
Mhm.
just to validate that you've got some knowledge and certification. But besides that, it's not actually very useful.
Yeah,
It
I
might
mean,
have been 10 years ago, but
yeah.
maybe more than that.
back in the
What can you
day,
say?
back in the day, I can remember doing things that you would never think.
Right?
Oh yeah, so no, but you're not wrong. I mean, even with like a college degree, right? It feels like those sort of paper things. The real best way to know if someone knows their stuff is that if they can show it. I mean, not any secret thing, right? But just like, can you do the work, right? That should be.
100%.
Yeah, I don't understand why they don't have people run through stuff. Like you would have, okay, we have this, you'd set up like what's the word, these false tests, like, oh, the wi-fi's gone out or something like that. I tell you what, when I was taking those exams, I was like, I don't remember. I don't remember. um but yeah, it was not a fun, it's a costly thing, it's not a fun thing, and you're right there. If you don't get the job, it's sort of like you've wasted your time and money trying to get this thing,
Yeah.
because I mean, you I think you've been doing stuff with the, I think it was like the files, the JFK files or something like that, with AI.
Yep.
And of course, I know there's going to be a back and forth on that conversation, because I've seen the other side, and I've seen the one other side too. There's there's a very big there's a bit of a gap there with that conversation on AI and its use. But I mean, for me, it's a tool. Whether you
It's a tool.
whether people agree with it or not, it is a tool and it is here to stay. And how you view it is understandable. But so I mean, do you for those file things, what were you exactly trying to use it for, if I may ask?
Yeah, so I'm a developer. I build stuff on AI. I build standard software projects, AI projects. I also design and build core AI systems,
Mm,
frameworks, models, things of that nature. Um, Dude, that's what I do on a daily basis. So
jeez.
when we talk about utilizing AI, AI is absolutely a tool. It's not an answer engine. It's not a knowledge. It
Mm,
can't do math,
mm,
but it can do reasoning relatively well. And if you feed it good data, you can
mm,
make it reason and get answers to things. You can
mm,
get it to view things,
mm,
and such as looking at handwritten documents and
mm,
being able to tell you what it says.
mm,
So, for example, now let's look at the handwritten notes in the JFK files. You have stacks and stacks of documents that you can barely read, a lot of redactions. Um, sure, you can use OCR,
mm,
optical character recognition, like a scanner, to read information on it, but it's unreadable. You can't read it. You can't use it. So if you try to scan the information from all the JFK files, you get a bunch of garbage data
yeah.
because there's a lot of artifacts.
Mm,
So utilizing AI, you can actually look at each page as an image, and
mm,
actually sections of each page.
mm,
You have to actually break it down into small pieces,
mm,
and then look at each piece, see what letters are actually in each piece, and then build those pieces back together like a puzzle.
mm,
And then you have a full analysis of the entire document. You're
mm,
actually able to read things you normally wouldn't be able to read with standard techniques. For example, I do the Epstein files, and I
mm,
was extracting the flight logs, and there are no other methods that I could find to
mm,
extract the names out of the flight logs
mm,
without highlighting that area and utilizing AI to tell me what it said.
right.
Standard methods just didn't work. So now I
Mm,
just built a system that does that with every page of every document
mm,
after going through and downloading every document. So now
mm,
we can actually take all of that data, put
right.
that into an LLM's memory, and then
Mm,
ask it questions.
mm,
And then when you do that, you can then ask it questions to, let's say, ask data about data piece 100,000 versus 1 million, right?
mm,
Because there's millions of data points in there. So you can cross-reference data from massive data sets, such
mm,
as with the JFK files, where there's millions of data points,
right.
and be able to ask it questions about it.
Right.
That's what I built it.
Yeah. The now I think you said it was like handwritten notes, right? Like they were handwritten. Uh,
Yeah, so JFK files are a combination of some typewritten files,
mm,
but even the typewritten files, they're photocopies of photocopies of photocopies,
yeah.
and some of those photocopies are decades old, and then there's photocopies that were happened decades after that. So there's
Jeez.
figure the paper deteriorated, people took copies of those, paper deteriorated again, people took
Mm,
more copies of those. There's handwritten notes and margins. Some of the notes are just scribbles.
mm,
There's redactions
mm,
everywhere. So parts of words, full sentences are completely blocked out.
yeah.
So you really need to intelligently look at every section of every page in
Mm,
order to be able, and then look at the entire page as a whole, as context, to be able
mm,
to say, okay, this is most likely what this says,
mm.
and then let's save this piece of data.
Yeah, because I mean, for me, thinking on like if you write on paper, or if you like with the old typewriters, right? There'd be an imprint, or there'd be I guess a depression. I don't know what they call that, where you have a compression, whatever you call it, where you'd be able to tell like the dip and stuff, like of a letter or something, like with like with a typewriter, it punches into the thing, not too hard, but it punches into, it leaves some
Yeah,
kind of indent. And writing, you press down on it a bit to get that ink out and stuff. So if you had the original manuscript, I would think you would. And this is probably stupid. You'd probably just take a light behind it and see if you can't see something.
yeah, for sure.
Uh, but yeah, no, that's interesting to that you are doing all of that, because I know it's still a big thing, but when the documents and stuff came out, it was really big of a big uproar of uh,
There's
their.
nothing much in there. There's some small things to find
Mhm,
here and there,
mhm,
but the documents that they released, both of the Epstein files and the JFK files, are so far sanitized, and real documents haven't existed in years and years and years.
yeah.
Those ended up in an incinerator a long time ago.
Yeah, which is kind of something I've heard a little bit around the bend, is that, at a certain point, people have to realize that all those documents could have been destroyed because they've had what the JFK files were, what, 50, 60 something years old, not even older than
Yeah,
that,
60 years.
60 years old. And so those would have been gone. And then you think about the Epstein stuff. I mean, if you didn't get them on the day of, they're more than likely gone. I mean,
Yeah,
bad guys try not to leave too much stuff behind, although that's not always the case, but still.
that's exactly right, and then that's exactly why I am actually doing what I'm doing with AI
Mhm,
and building the tools that I'm building,
mhm.
um, because if there's anything to be found,
Right.
it'll happen from cross-referencing some random piece of data
Mhm,
from at the beginning of the data set to something at the very end of the data set.
mhm,
Things that some random person who is deleting or erasing or destroying data at one point
mhm,
didn't think that would really matter, right? It's going to
mm.
be something like that that's found in here. It's going to be needles and stacks of needles, right? It's going to
Yeah.
be there's going to be one needle that might be potentially useful in that stack of needles.
Mhm.
Rather than that, they literally just threw truckloads of needles and said, "Have at it."
It's basically, it's like trying to find a needle in a needle stack.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, and that's why I think AI is the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
Um, my tools are still in progress.
Mhm,
It's not quite as simple as adding the files to ChatGPT and asking it questions
mhm,
because there's so much data and the
mhm.
quality of the data is so bad.
Yeah.
Cleaning it up takes quite a while.
Yeah. No, and that's understandable because I know there's a gentleman by the name of Brian Rommel or something like that on Twitter X, and he's very in depth with that stuff. Talks about training your own, having your own AI, because if you don't own it, they will, sort of thing. Um,
For
and
sure.
and I think it was in relation to DeepSeek, because that was the one thing that came from China. Of course, there's been many more at this point, I believe. But he was talking about DeepSeek, and I think it was because DeepSeek seemed so good, they must have had a good training set or something like that for the data they were training it on. Because there's a difference of training the data on the internet, which seems like a bad diet, if you will. And then there's stuff
Yeah.
he's using stuff from like the 1800s, from like the early 1900s to train the data on. It's again, it's a Brian Rommel, or Roemmle, I think, and
Mhm.
he's really into that aspect of course, with all the Tesla stuff as well and all that, but he's very into the technology. Have you ever tested the ones that are out there, or do you stay away from touching those?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've tested every model that basically exists.
Mhm.
I generally find myself on the bleeding edge of AI technology in general,
Right.
using new tools before they come out.
Mhm.
I'm a beta tester with a couple different companies,
Mhm.
testing out their products, and I develop a handful of products. I'm in progress of developing products with a handful of different companies as a contractor.
Mhm.
I live in this world every day. Uh,
Jeez.
I've tried every model there is. I
Mhm.
have 2 dozen, 3 dozen.
that's
Six. I have 6 dozen tabs open right now on a handful of projects that I've got active.
jeez.
I've got on 3 screens, along with the streaming stuff that they're going
That's I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, that's pretty cool, but that's pretty insane for how many tabs you have.
on. That's nothing. I have my tabs grouped in workspaces.
Uh-huh.
I found Vivaldi to be my favorite browser
Oh wow.
because of that you can group the tabs in these workspaces and then close the entire browser,
Mm,
and then they just come back. Um, which now I just hoard tabs and save them as groups and
mm.
just have
Yeah.
too many damn windows open at any given amount of time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for what you do, it makes sense. I mean, for me, um, I mean, I've tried the DeepSeek one. I've tried the Grok, of course, at least the one that's out currently, and then
Yep.
I've tried oh I Claude. Use Claude as well. For me, uh, you use a lot. There's I mean, there's places where you can go like do chatbot stuff. But for me, I've just grown to use uh, I am the voice on Vivas. He is the voice. Listen to the voice you are on the
That's me.
screen. Um, but the one I come back to, and I do pay for it, but I use Claude a lot. I again, I know there's all the different stuff of training data and whatnot, but
Hmm.
there's just for using as Claude as long as I have and all that stuff. They've it's a weird thing because they've started to add like adding to connected to the internet, and then the deep think stuff like what started with
Hmm.
DeepSeek and then Grok took and then all these other platforms are trying to catch up. But
Yep.
I kind of use it to come back because it has that it feels like Grok tries to do too much if you even if you don't ask, and I feel like
E-
that's sorry.
Each model has its, let's say, pros and cons.
Yeah.
So each has their use case.
Mm,
I use a combination of models every single day.
mm,
Um, each project I have uses at least 2 or 3 at any given amount of time because there's
mm.
different things that each one does better.
Yeah.
I generally, in my day to day, live in Chat GPT
Mm,
for day to day type stuff.
mm,
Over the last few days, I really liked the new Gemini 2.5 Pro for coding.
mm,
So for doing one shot in code, being able to write a whole stack of good code all at
mm.
once. Gemini has been quite good. It sucks at basically everything else. Claude was basically I would say the best at code, but it was so mediocre at everything else. It was not
Mm.
say markedly better than ChatGPT. So I just stick with ChatGPT in general.
Yeah. No, and
On my API work, I also do automate everything. So I
yeah.
use a platform called N8N,
Mm,
which is a kind of like Zapier or Make,
mm,
where you actually automate everything. And I
mm.
automate all of my AI agents. Um,
Oh, wow.
N8N is a way to do that. So you mentioned Claude being able to connect to the internet.
Yeah.
Well, you connect the internet to your agent in these types of cases. So use
Oh,
Zapier, Make, N8N, and then there's also agentic frameworks designed for exactly like that, like
nice.
AutoGen, Crew AI,
Mm.
Identic AI, and a handful of others.
That's I mean, to be honest, it's a lot more technical than I've ever dealt with. But no, that's pretty awesome
Yeah.
that you can do that.
Useful
'Cause
AI,
yeah,
right? Having a chatbot is not very useful. I look at AI as a couple different levels, right?
mm,
So like the lowest level is chatbot,
mm,
and that is the most basic thing. It's the most basic project. My least favorite to take on as a contractor.
right,
I'll do them for clients, but it's my least favorite. And then
right.
you have analysis, right?
Mm,
Then you could just have where you could take documents, you feed documents into the system, and you ask it questions. You have it
mm,
write reports, etc.
yeah.
And the next is what my favorite is, the highest level of AI is what I call actionable AI,
Mm,
where it actually does something, where the
mm,
AI isn't something that you talk to necessarily. It might be part of an interface, but it's really AI is part of the code in the background
mhm,
where it chooses a path,
mhm,
where because AI can make intelligent, reasonable choices, then it can choose the path in the software that the data goes down,
Mm,
or make decisions about what is happening in the
right.
background. Um, and in there, it's more seamless.
Yeah.
See, that's where I find it to be the most useful, and that's why I built a lot of
Yeah.
business automations around that, where
Nice.
utilizing AI to make decisions, make choices, and then
Mm.
pass data through other parts of software.
Yeah. And I mean, for myself and me being honest, I use it for the most basic of things, which is, I kind of use it for the stuff I do. I kind of use it. Helping in like titles and whatnot, or the I've been having it help with me for my survey stuff, just
Yep,
because it helps with going through the data on a quicker basis. Where if I went through my survey stuff by
100%.
myself, it, I'd be dead.
Yeah, no, you can get through so much more data if you know what the questions are you want to ask, if you know
Mm,
how to ask the questions, if you know how to prompt the AI to get
mm,
the responses that you're looking for.
yeah,
It is an extremely effective tool.
yeah. Only problem
But
is I don't.
it can be. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was like, the only problem is I don't always know the right questions to ask.
Yeah, that's the key. Is the prompt engineering and getting it to do what you want is the hard
Mm,
part,
mm.
especially when the machine is so confident in its answers, and it can be so confidently wrong
Yeah.
on so many occasions.
Mhm,
And getting these systems to be accurate,
mhm.
and work really well, is is a chore, or can be a
Yeah.
chore.
Yeah, and that's again, for what you do, that's understandable because you're using on a basis far beyond what I've ever used them for, which is basically like what you're talking about, like the first level of well, maybe the analytic stuff, but on a basis level of just coming up with stuff. Although there is that new thing that's been coming out, is that turning people's pictures into the Ghibli stuff. Uh,
Yep.
uh, Need some a but hey, come on, Anna. Stop busting me up like that. But no, it's again, I look at it as a tool, and yeah, maybe you can get lax on it or whatever. But I mean, for me, I use Canva to make my
Yep.
thumbnails. I use Claude for the other stuff. I've used Grok a little bit for when I make posts on X, not fully, but some of it. But I'm not gonna sit here and try to distance myself on the matter of hiding the fact, because at the end of every show, during, because I'm part of the creator partnership program, and you do little premium stuff. Um, I show people what I do to set up for the next day, because uh, it was just something extra to add, because I didn't know what I would do. I just
Yep.
whatever. Um, but I mean, I do show, like, here's what I do. I start with my thumbnail, and I go to making my outro, whatever, for the next guest coming in, and blah 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 blah. I use coming up with titles and all this other stuff. But I'm not shy about that, because again, it has its usefulness. I'm not like I'm not too dependent on it, but I do enjoy uh um I do enjoy that it helps with getting through things quicker, right?
For sure.
It helps make more, like you were saying, you have to ask the right questions, but it does help in getting through, like I know that some people will spend hours upon hours upon hours upon hours, maybe on making their thumbnail, or maybe they'll go through almost an hour of trying to come up with their description or title, whatever. I can get all my stuff done within less than, I think, 45 minutes, more or less. And again, I'm not shy about it. I have had people on who are very leery, and in fact more like the people who are in Terminator, like destroy the machine sort of thing, which I can understand that argument uh, as well. So that brings me to that next point too, is you you use this stuff. It's a daily tool for you, all that. But you also have the other side of the equation, where people like, it destroys lives. People become too independent, too lazy, too fat on it, and a whole smorgasbord of argument across.
Yeah,
But what has been your viewpoint on when you've seen those people, saying all these different things like AI is bad, and basically it's sort of like there's always going to be those extreme ends, always going to be those extreme ends, but there's also that middle
sure.
ground is like yes and no and all that sort of stuff. What is your viewpoint on sort of like the very extreme parts where it's like the very no, get rid of it, destroy it, burn it, all that stuff?
So I look at everything as is there some type of balance. There's a dichotomy in it, right? So
Yeah.
I think there's both sides of the argument have some relevance of truth and accuracy to where their arguments do make some sense in reality, right? So there's an argument on both sides of the equation where the far extreme end is either AI is going to kill us or AI is going to be the reason we're alive, right?
Mm.
So it's either going to save us or it's going to kill us, and those are the two far extreme ends.
Yeah.
I think the truth, just like everything else in this world, is it sits somewhere in the middle of that,
Yeah.
where it's not going to kill us, it's also not going to save us.
Yeah.
Um, what it is going to do is going to completely change our lives. It is going to
Yeah.
completely change the landscape of work. It is
Mm.
going to completely change how daily life is run.
Yeah.
It's going to change security. It's going to change how people trust.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a big one
Mhm.
because with deep fakes,
Oh, yeah.
something that I'm actually an expert at making,
Uh,
can quite honestly, I can take anybody's voice
Mhm.
and turn it into a new audio
Yeah.
with that person's voice. Do the same thing with video and pictures, and I'm not a graphics guy, so I'm not that much of an expert in the video and pictures.
Mm.
Finboy Slick in the Viva Barnes Law Locals community is one of the best with that. I
Mm.
go to him with questions when I need that stuff. Uh, but as far as the other stuff, that's kind of what I do. I build that
Yeah.
stuff every day, and it's scary, and it
Yeah.
can be really scary. If someone had my skills who had bad intent, they
Mhm.
could do some pretty terrible stuff.
Yeah.
Because I can do some pretty incredible stuff, and I have good intentions. And
Yeah.
because I've got good intentions, I can do good things. But
Yeah.
there's people with bad intentions too,
Yeah.
and AI is an extraordinarily powerful tool.
Yeah.
It can act when put together in the right way,
Mhm.
act in the place of a human in a
Mhm.
system. And you got to figure every company, every business, every government agency, every organization is a series of tasks, whether it is a manual task that you do with like, your hands, like
Right.
actual digits moving, or
Mhm.
it's a mental task,
Yeah.
right? So everything is broken down into that.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of companies, a lot of agencies, a lot of organizations that it's all mental.
Mhm.
It's all moving information from one place to another, whether
Yep.
it's reading, writing, speaking,
Mhm.
typing,
Yep.
whether it's actually computer work, whether you're
Mhm.
doing work at a computer or a computer is doing work, you're
Mhm.
talking to people and doing the whatever the day-to-day business is that you do. But
Mhm.
generally speaking, all of those things can be done by a machine. And
Yeah.
it is not hard to make those things real.
Mhm.
And I think that's going to be the biggest disruptor is making those things real.
Yeah.
And this is what I've been working on for the last few years. So I can tell
Mm.
you that this stuff is not only possible, but it's actually in practice. People are doing these things and it's coming to reality.
Yeah.
Um, actually, would you like to test something live right now?
Uh,
I've been working on a voice agent,
okay.
a system to call people.
Mhm.
I built one for this one's for collections.
Mhm.
Um, would you like me to have it call you, and you can talk to an actual live AI?
Oh, before you do though, there was a company that just came out with a conversational one that makes it sound like it's I can't remember their name, but they were Sesame, I think it was. I think the company name was Sesame or something, where they just
Hmm.
came out with. It sounded like it was an actual real person with exasperation and all that stuff. And I don't know if you've heard of that
Oh
one.
yeah,
But yeah,
there's quite a few of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, let me
sure. We can
just
do that.
edit this real quick. Bear with me.
Sure. Just let me know what I need to do for that. Oh, and and then Slidey Pie says, "I'm so low tech on my channel. I don't spend much time on my thumbnails. Just snap a picture, and that's great. That's I mean, I think in the content creator sphere, people just need to figure out what works best for them and use it. I don't think people should. I mean, I get I get the like the YouTube videos where it's just AI reading something and they make content off that and they make money off that. It's kind of low grade. Um, but I mean, if people use AI to kind of as a tool as it's meant to be as a tool, I don't understand why people should be yelled at or doomsday at because they're using it. Like I again I use Claude. I know Canva has some AI stuff to it, and then Grok, Twitter X as well. But I feel like if it helps you enjoy the process of making content, like you're not so burnout or whatever. Because I mean, you've seen a lot of content creators on YouTube where they've done this stuff for years and they got burnt out because they're trying to upkeep with what YouTube wants and all that stuff, and that's a whole nother bag of rocks in itself. But I think the being bashed for using AI is going to be is dependent on I guess the individual, like you're saying, the good person bad person thing. But again, it's so it, this technology itself is so powerful, and yet it has promise in that power. Again, like anything humans have created, a garden hoe is as much as a creator for growing vegetables and all this sort of stuff, as much as it is a
Sure,
weapon to kill. I
sure.
mean, yeah, I just post for yeah. That's what have fun with it. I mean, content creation should be
Yeah.
just that. You have so many people out there making videos of how to make a thumbnail or how to do all this editing. I'm like, what just happened to making content for the fun of it? Because
Well, it became
not
a business. It's one of the biggest businesses in the world today, and
yeah.
everybody wants to be in it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I enjoy the bonuses that it offers because, I mean, who doesn't like to get a little money on the side or all the followers and stuff? But it's like before, when YouTube was still starting out, just before we do your stuff, before YouTube was starting out, when it was still in its heyday, all it was a place to upload videos. There was no getting paid for it. There was no, maybe you could barely make a sponsorship or whatever, but you were just uploading videos for the fun of it. Now YouTube has turned into this huge business, not only for small people, but for like these big, huge brands out there. And and it sort of changed the landscape of just creating. Yes, people would make junk, but there'd also be people that make some great stuff. There still are. There still are. But it's sort of diminished the factor of why people create something because it feels like you're either creating to get paid or you're creating for reason here, here, and here. I that's just my perspective, but it's this weird, silly thing that I keep seeing, and not everyone is either outgoing or truthful in the matter of why they create. I think I just do it because I enjoy getting to talk to people like yourself.
Yeah, and there's a handful of creators. So I know a number of these creators, right? So I think you know that I work for Viva Frey
Yeah.
of Viva Barnes Law,
Hmm.
and I happen to know a number of people in that law tube sphere.
Hmm.
Uh, and I can tell you from, I'm not going to name names or anything like that,
Right.
but I
Right.
can tell you that there's a handful of them in there. They do it because they love it. They don't care about the number of viewers they get. Viva is one of them, by the way. He doesn't care about the number of viewers and the number of subscribers. He obviously cares because it's how he makes a living, but generally
Yeah.
he's like, I just don't care. He says that quite a bit on stream.
Yeah.
Um, but if there's other ones who do it, it's a business,
Yeah.
right? There's a number of them that utilize AI,
Hmm.
where they've cloned their voices. They utilize AI to write scripts. They
Hmm.
utilize those cloned voices to make faceless YouTube videos with their voice in the background.
Right.
And I've built some automations for these people,
Wow.
where we actually build automated workflows
Hmm.
in tools like N8N that can actually take a piece of data and process it using AI,
Mm-hmm.
and manage your content in
Mm-hmm.
such a manner. That's how I met a couple of them, by doing these types of tools.
Nice.
So there's definitely people who look at it like a business,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of them like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of these new channels today are doing it because AI made it really easy,
Yeah.
and making clips channels, making faceless voice YouTube
Yeah.
videos. It's
Mm-hmm.
easy.
Yeah.
I've got a YouTube channel, so I started my YouTube channel basically when ChatGPT became a real product
Oh yeah.
in
Yep.
November 22.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got I don't know, 150 videos on my YouTube channel. It's
Mm-hmm.
100% faceless.
Mm-hmm.
It is 100% AI generated. It is
Wow.
100% automated from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
The ideas were AI generated. The scripts were AI generated. The
Mm-hmm.
research was AI done. Um, the copy editing was AI done. The AI voiceovers were AI done.
Mm-hmm.
The video generation was AI done. The
Mm-hmm.
uploads were automated. So it was an entire automated system. I had this running 2 years ago,
Wow.
and I just wanted to see if I could do it.
Yeah.
And now people do it for a business. I don't want to create AI junk content just for
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Um,
The what was it? Yeah, because you do see some of those videos where they're just like rattling off information, like, oh, that was one I saw of Johnny Carson, and there's a point you could tell that it is an AI voice. Like you can listen and it just doesn't sound natural or does a mix
I,
up of audio.
like I said, I built one. Here, DM me your phone number,
Uh,
and I will
sure.
have it call you right now, and you can talk to one of these agents that I actually built for a business. Now, this is
Just
a demonstration version.
yeah, just as long as I don't lose my my phone in the process.
No. All right. So I'm going to put this into the system, and it will call you. If you want to you can probably just put your speaker up to your microphone.
Okay.
All right, here it comes.
Okay. All right. I just answer it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hello. Hold on.
Calling on behalf of Nova Credit Solutions. I am reaching out regarding a personal financial matter. Before we continue, I just need to. I'm speaking with McLuhan. Could you please verify your date of birth to ensure we're protecting your privacy?
So that's what
Anything.
you're talking about. What?
It's an actual person. To talk to it. We give it any number. Just give it a random date.
I'm calling about your account with Nova Credit Solutions, which.
Well, the thing of it is, it sounds like a scam one though, so that's why I'm hesitant to
Well,
respond.
right. This is purely a demonstration version.
Okay,
Um, but
1 second.
it's a human. You can talk to it.
Okay. Okay. Can you repeat that again?
Of course, I understand your concern. Let me clarify. This is Encryptus calling on behalf of Nova Credit Solutions
Okay.
regarding a. Thank you. To continue, could you please confirm your date of birth? This is just to ensure your privacy is protected.
March 5th, 1987.
Thanks. I can now confirm your privacy is protected and we can continue.
Mm.
I'm calling regarding your account with Nova Credit Solutions, which currently has an outstanding balance of $1,260. I'd like to understand your current situation and explore how we can resolve this together. Are you in a position to make payment in full today, or would a payment plan work better for you?
Payment plan?
Thanks for letting me know. That's absolutely fine. We can set up a payment plan to make things more manageable. Would weekly, fortnightly, or monthly payments suit you best?
Let's go for monthly.
Monthly sounds good. How much are you comfortable paying each month? We want to ensure the plan is manageable for you.
100.
Thank you for that. So to confirm, you'd like to pay $100 each month based on the balance of $1,260. This plan would take approximately 13 months to complete, with the first payment starting on insert agreed date. Does that work for you?
Yes.
Great. I'll set that up for you. You'll be making monthly payments of $100 starting on the agreed date. I'll send a confirmation of this arrangement via email. If you have any questions or if your situation changes.
All right. So that one was a bit boring, but this is what we use in the world of business.
Yes.
I built one for fun.
Right.
So let's hang up this one. Then I built this one just to make my in-laws laugh when my wife was over their house the other
Right.
night. So try this one.
Okay. Hold on, I gotta do.
Daramouthe, would you like to hear a dirty joke?
What do you got?
Why does the toilet paper roll down the hill to get to the bottom? Now, speaking of bottoms, let's get to the top of some wordplay fun. How about a quick game to tickle your tongue? Are you ready for a rhyme time showdown, or are you feeling brave enough for a tongue twister trial? Choose wisely, word warrior.
Twister trial.
Marvelous choice, my twisty-tongued troubadour. Here it comes. A Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't very fuzzy, was he? Now, what's up the ante with this? Red Spirit fried fresh French fries on Friday. Can you say it 3 times fast without rumbling? If you can, I'll crown you the Sultan of Syllables. Ready, set, twist.
French fries.
Close, but no crispy potato crown for you just yet. Let's try another. Here we go. Say it 3 times fast without slipping on those slippery snails. If you nail it, I'll W the ready, set, slither. Slippery snail. Slippery snail. A valiant effort, my slippery syllable soldier, but it seems those snails got the better of you. Don't worry, I'll let you off the hook for now.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
You're welcome, my word-wrangling warrior, but wait, don't slither away just yet. How about we switch gears and try a quick round of I'll start. Why don't skeletons fight each other? Because they don't have the guts. Your turn. Hit me with your best.
Why did a chicken cross the road?
Oh, classic setup to get to the other side. Nah, too predictable. How about bottom? Now, since we're on a roll, let's flip it. Why did the turkey cross the road?
Because it gobbles.
Oh, a poultry pun with a twist. You've got excellent taste and humor. I'm clucking impressed. Now let's keep this wordy whirlwind going. How about a quick game of say a word and I'll hit you with 5 rhymes faster than a rooster at sunrise? What's your word?
Pop. Pop.
Oh,
sizzling choice. Here we go, bam. 5 rhymes hotter than a jalapeno in July. Your turn. Give me another word to rhyme, or shall we spice things up with a pun off? Let's keep this fiery fun going.
Smart.
Ooh, smart. Let's see if I can outwit your wit with these rhymes. Start, chart, dart, heart, and apart. Boom, brainy banter at its best.
it will never stop. If you let it keep going, it'll just keep going.
Far in a pun punch out. Warning, I'm unstoppable.
End call.
It's a person, dude. It doesn't answer respond like that.
Yeah, I know, but after a while, we gotta get. That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's just again, I can see the bad application, especially when you have stuff like scammers and all that. But that's just hilarious.
Well, think about it. You talked about hating before we got online about hating doing customer support or technical support.
Yeah.
this would be a great job for technical support.
Well,
But here's the thing: we get back to the job disruption part of it, right?
mhm,
Talking about this is going to the reason I wanted to show that to you is it's going to disrupt the market, and these are just okay.
yeah.
This is what I made in a few hours worth of work
Wow.
on models that are existing today,
Mhm,
on models that are existing tomorrow or next week, next month, next year. These things are going to get better. They're going to be harder to understand.
mhm,
There's some latency because of the internet connection, but once the latency is a little bit less and the models are slightly better,
mhm,
you're not going to be able to tell the difference calling your company and talking to somebody.
mm,
And it's cheaper to hire a guy like me
mhm,
to build you a system
mhm,
that can be any number of people all at once.
mhm,
Works 24 hours a day,
mhm.
7 days a week.
Yeah.
It doesn't get more money on holidays or weekends, doesn't
Mhm,
take any vacation time,
mhm,
and they're instantly reprogrammable. If
mhm,
they don't do what you want, you add new training data, you add new instructions, and then they
mhm,
do what you want.
mhm.
There's no worrying about rehiring, there's no human resources, there's no complaining.
Mhm.
Like, they're the ideal employees.
Yeah.
And one employee can is as powerful as your computers that you're hosting them on, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you want more power, you feed the machines,
Mhm.
and it's cheaper to have machines running
Mhm.
than people.
Yeah. No, I can see it. Well, especially since well, my thing is that it'd be great to have uh when you're trying to call like for phone stuff, right? Like you're trying to change your phone from one company to another. It'd be nice to have something you can understand because they offshore those call
Right,
centers in India. And it's just like
right,
it, you're giving it to someone who you get paying cheaper, but we can barely understand them. And of course, you have also the issues with scammers as well, but that's a whole nother different ballpark. But I can see the promise in trying to get away from using across the ocean sort of help because you have people who are almost yelling at their phone because they can't understand the other person on the line.
right. And what these types of systems do is allows the caller themselves to be part of the tuning process of
Mhm,
which agent they're speaking to.
mhm.
Because there's nearly an infinite number of voices that are available out of the box from the voice providers, but you can
Yeah,
also make any voice,
yeah.
any accent, any language, uh, and they work really well
Mhm,
in many, many, many languages.
mhm,
So if you know in advance who's calling,
mhm,
so you use caller ID, you have this person in your CRM, you know this person is calling from Argentina, they don't speak very good English.
mhm,
Well, you know what? I'll have my Argentinian AI agent be the one that answers their call
mhm.
instead of Mark, my American guy, who's the person you heard earlier.
Yeah.
Um, right? So we can do this kind of stuff with AI. And
Mhm,
so every situation is more comfortable for the person calling.
mhm.
We're skipping the hard part here. The downside is people are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen in this year. 2025 is going to be a year that people lose their jobs.
Mhm,
Programmers are going to start losing their jobs as automated coding tools start to get better.
mhm.
And it won't be good programmers, right? Good
Yeah.
programmers will always have a job, but
Yeah.
the new companies will hire less low level programmers and
Mm.
focus more on high level programmers who can use AI to accelerate their work. So
Yeah.
there's going to be a change in the job market. But
Yeah.
the flip side of that is it's just like the industrial revolution, right?
Yep.
Machines and automated factories put millions of people out of work, right?
Mhm.
Like it changed everything,
Yeah.
but it also created new
New jobs.
industries, new jobs,
Mhm,
and it changed the world for the better. And I look at AI like that.
mhm.
There's no doubt going to be a rough time
Yeah.
in this period of growth, this period of change,
Mhm,
where AI is determining, people are determining where AI fits in society, and there
mhm.
will be a line that people will draw at some point.
Yes. Mhm,
Um, and until then, the reality is people are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah.
New jobs, specifically in the realm of managing these systems and
Mhm.
building these systems and managing small teams of people that do specialized tasks as
Yeah.
opposed to a call center agent.
Yeah.
Instead of having let's call it a level 1 technical support, you
Yeah.
only hire level 3 technical support, right?
Mhm.
People who need to actually troubleshoot a real problem with a client.
Yeah.
And so instead of hiring 5 staff, you're hiring 1 staff.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
And
this stuff's going to happen in the next year or two,
yeah.
and it's going to be a struggle. People are going to hate it. There's going to be other people you talk to, both online and on these podcasts. They're going to say this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah. No,
And I fall somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I've already had someone on who is won't say a name, but is very adamant on basically saying destroy the AI. At any time, I think this person made a post saying they used it, but it's going to rob you of your creativity. It's going to be like the same thing where many people have said on the art generation stuff, right? Where they have it's not human, it's going to take away the human.
Yeah, I
What
don't agree with that.
Well, people have been. I know you've probably seen recently the whole Studio Ghibli sort of artwork or art style that's been. I don't know which I don't know which company it is. I think it's ChatGPT or something like that. That one's from, or whatever. But the point of the matter is though, is that uh there was someone sharing a video, I think it was like 2016 of Miyazaki talking about it. But I have had I've at least heard those discussions, and I've at least had someone on who's been like, I don't it's gonna be the worst thing ever. And that goes for people who are in the art background of things, like, it's gonna be
There's
soulless.
an argument for that,
Yes.
but I'd say it's just like with any other innovation.
Hmm.
There's closed-minded and there's open-minded,
Hmm.
and you can approach this as it is the end of the world.
Hmm.
And if you are that factory line worker
Hmm.
from pre industrial revolution that lost their job to the mechanization of your factory,
Yeah.
and you're just angry about it because you lost your job,
Hmm.
and you're one of those people who are just miserable because your factory closed and you lost your job, and this happened to so many people, and their entire livelihoods and their lives were over because of it.
Hmm.
But then there was other people who found a way around it
Yeah.
and found a way to succeed, even
Hmm.
though that happened.
Yeah.
And then they created new wealth for themselves and new
Hmm.
things. The
Yeah.
same thing is going to happen here too. You're
Hmm.
going to hear people just like that who have problems with it. And then there's going to be people like me who use it as a tool.
Hmm.
And I don't think it's something to replace art. It can't replace art.
Hmm.
I'm terrible with art as a general thing. Like
Yeah.
I can do logic and math all day long.
Mhm.
You ask me to design something pretty,
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It
I can make it square. I can make it in shapes. If
Mhm.
you give me the instructions of what you're looking for, I can probably build it for you, and I can do it in any medium.
Mhm.
Really good with working with my hands and metal, glass, wood, plastic. Doesn't matter. I can build
Mhm.
stuff. I can make stuff. Um, Technical, physical, doesn't matter. But when
Mhm.
it comes to designing it, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
Uh, and there's the people who are afraid of these things are just afraid of change. The tools aren't going to replace an artist. They're going to be a tool an artist uses,
Mhm.
right? So like you can use ChatGPT or Cursor or V0 or any number of insert AI coding tool here
Mhm.
and tell it to write you some code.
Mhm.
But you're not a programmer if you do that, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to write you Microsoft Windows,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It's not going to write you real software. It's not going to write you the software that runs Rumble Studio, right?
Yeah.
It just can't. It's not
Mhm.
capable of that. It's not capable of that in its current form today and in
Mhm.
the way people use it.
Yeah.
It's not that it can't be used to build those things,
Mhm.
but you require new skills and new professions
Mhm.
to use these tools to
Mhm.
do that.
Yeah.
So it's not replacing programmers, it's creating a new class of programmers.
Yeah.
It's not replacing content creators, it's going
Mhm.
to create a new class of content creators.
Mhm.
And I say content creators because mixed media is really how things are going to be done in the future,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So especially with AI being able to do any media or combination of media at any given time,
Mhm.
people are going to be content creators.
Yeah.
And your art is still your design. It's what you dream up.
Mhm.
And the machine is going to be able to come up with ideas, sure, but
Mhm.
it's not going to replace human creativity. That doesn't exist.
Mhm.
Um, there's the AI is limited by its amount of training data, and that
Yeah.
amount of training data is less than our training data, right?
Yeah.
That we have in our brains, and our wisdom.
Mhm.
So for now, the people are still the valuable resource.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I'm not worried about them replacing artists. I just see that the artists are going to use it as a tool.
Yeah.
Just like in technology, I use it as a tool.
Yeah, I think that's the neutral basis, is to look at it like a tool and then go from there, because anything we've created so far, I mean, when the Gutenberg press was created, I think there were a lot of people who felt the same way. It was a different time period, sure, but now you had less monks repeating, scribing, books and all that stuff, and now you could print it at double the speed. Like, you saw the
Yeah.
put the inlets of the lettering, you saw the ink and all this stuff, but you could go twice as fast now instead of just writing and paying. So there are things throughout history where, yeah, you could point that out as a fallacy or whatever, which is fine, but still the point is made that there used to be people who would go to your door or window and wake you up. They would be your personal alarm. You would pay this person to be your alarm. You don't have that anymore. You have an alarm. You used to have people
Right.
who would light the lamps, the oil lamps, right? Because that was the thing back then.
Of
Those people
course.
those people don't much exist anymore, unless there's special areas where there are oil lamps.
Milk delivery people. Like there's a million and one of those examples.
Mhm,
There's just the changing of times
mhm,
changes things, and sometimes there are small evolutions,
mhm,
and sometimes there's larger revolutions.
mhm.
And the Industrial Revolution and mechanizing the world was a big one.
Yeah.
Technology has been a huge one already. Let's look
Mm,
at what we've accomplished in the last 50 years alone,
yeah.
in the last 20 years alone, the last 10 years,
Mhm.
and AI is going to accelerate that even further. There's
Yeah.
who knows where we're going to go with it, but AI is part of that, whether we want it to be or not.
Yeah.
Either get on the train and figure out how to use it as a tool to make this world a better place, or be scared and scream that the sky is falling. Like
Mhm.
I don't know how else to look at it.
Yeah. Again, it's gonna revert back to those two extremes where people are mostly going to see that. But anyway, so it is the top of the hour, and what I usually do when I have a guest on like yourself on, I usually set aside some time for us to promote ourselves. Now I know you are doing your own thing. I don't. I know you have your own channel and whatnot. I didn't. I just put your Twitter X in. But if you want to
Yeah, that's
uh,
fair.
promote your stuff, you can go ahead, and then I'll do mine after. But I gotta take care of something real quick, so the floor is yours.
Absolutely. So you can find me on X, Agent Guru _IO. That's where I communicate most times, but you can generally find me the vivabarneslaw.locals.com community. I am Viva Fry's producer. He refers to me as Jamie. I do more than just producing work, I guess. It's kind of a guest on the show and helping out in the background, do some tech stuff. But anyway, you can usually normally find me in the Viva Barnes community. Find me on the Viva Barnes podcast, 4 o'clock Rumble during the week, and Sunday night 6 p.m. on Rumble.
Yeah, yeah. And I when I was talking to Neuro, I kind of forgot that part that you were with Viva, but I do know. Well, I'll get to it after. But anyway, but yes, I did link his. I believe I did Yes, I did at least link his Twitter X. So if you want to go check out his thing there. And of course, like you said, he's with doing Viva Frya, of course, and all that stuff. So, but the best place is to start with his Twitter X and go from there. But for my end of things, whether you're on the Rumble side or whether you're on the YouTube side, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing the content, leaving a comment or follow. Anything that helps with the engagement is much appreciated because not only does it help in being seen more, like all content creators do, it also helps in having other people on as guests, like Inscriptus or like Anna's Gameland or like so many other people because I've had on over 180 different guests and it's been about this just trying to talk to people across the table, just on the spaces of free flowing conversation because I just didn't very much see that with other content creators I was following at the time, and I've talked to a few of the people who do it, but it doesn't feel like it's a big thing, and I do it because I enjoy getting to talk to the people I get to talk to. So there's that. But anyway, any help with the engagement factor, of course, I have a link down below. It takes you to all my stuff, my Twitter X, my email, DMing, and Discord, that sort of stuff. I don't run a server, but if you'd like to take up the opportunity yourself to come on, well, guess what? There's a comment section down below, and there's a link down below as well to find me at my other places. I did have someone go through my link to my links to find me at my place, but it was in the Canadian, and I'm very ashamed of my American friends because it took a Canadian to lead the way. So. But anyway, engagement. Any help with the engagement factor is much appreciated. Of course, link down below. I appreciate you all for being here, because I mean it's interesting to, and of course, thank you, Neuro, for being here as well. I much appreciate it. But it's kind of nice to kind of learn on the scene because you do have a lot of people who are very in the dark, and nothing there's it's great to have some form of information because again, as you've stated, there are going to be bad people out there who are going to use this technology to ruin people. I mean, you if you get someone like you who has bad intentions, it's going to get pretty bad. And so if people at least have some form of information that will help them um, at least prepare to some manner and using the tool themselves, then they might be better prepared than the people who never listen. And
I think there's another risk too, right? I think the other risk is stupidity,
mm,
right? So it's trusting it. It's the lawyer who used it to write a brief and asked it to create citations, and the
mm,
citations were fake because it had no idea what it actually meant, but it
mm,
confidently gave wrong answers.
mm,
I got in trouble for it.
mhm.
How many students have cheated on papers
Yep.
and been caught because they made up fake answers,
Mm.
or people trust it
Yeah.
as a search engine now instead of actually looking for real data. They
Mhm.
just ask it questions. It's not a good idea.
Mhm.
It doesn't work like that. These systems are not that accurate. They're
Mhm.
not fact machines. And if people could just understand the limitations of these systems,
Mhm.
they might not be one as scared, but
Yeah.
two as let's say at the whim of the machine
Mhm.
that controls them through the narrative that they push via the answers that they're provided through these
Mhm.
types of systems.
Mhm.
Like we've seen what Google did.
Yep.
We've seen what these systems are capable of doing. The AI systems are even more so
Yeah.
because they are reporting the answers that they're giving to be fact,
Mhm. Yeah.
and people need to take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Since you mentioned YouTube, it's kind of funny because they are sort of integrating more. Again, YouTube, Google, so there's no difference. But they are starting to insert more of their AI stuff, like on the Creator Studio on YouTube. You can go in the back end, and you can see that they have this new tab called the Inspiration tab, and
Hmm.
it's funny because that will start pushing out many people who are doing content creation because if YouTube does it in a way that they can have some sort of system in place to create content and keep all the money, do you not think they wouldn't do that?
Oh, So that is absolutely part of what's happening, right?
Mhm.
These companies are paying for things like Sora, the video
Yep.
generation platform,
Sort
and
of. Yeah.
others. There's a whole lot of them.
Hmm.
Actually, the Kling's pretty good too.
Hmm.
But there's these video platforms that are going to change the way media is delivered.
Hmm.
Within a few years' time, you're going to be able to say, using your normal voice,
Hmm.
talking out loud, say, I want to watch a movie about galactic empire, sword fights,
Hmm.
with a dragon, and I want it to take place on multiple worlds. One of them is all water, and the other one is like Mars, whatever.
Hmm.
And it will make the entire movie for you. And you will
Yep.
sit there and you just say, "Hey, I want it to be exactly 2 hours long,"
Yeah.
or I have a flight to catch in an hour and 40 minutes. I needed to make it an hour and 38 minutes long, and it will make an hour and 38 minute long movie that is
Hmm.
exactly what you asked it to be, and it's
Hmm.
exactly what you're looking for. It's fine tuned to your desire, your
Hmm.
likes, your color palettes, all that type of stuff. This
Yeah.
will be how media is delivered.
Yeah.
Um, the value in what I see in YouTube and Rumble is going to come down to live. It's going to come down to real conversations with real people. Things like this right now. Things like Viva Frey. Things like Robert Barnes talking about legal cases.
Hmm.
Things about that relate to the real world. I
Yeah.
think a lot of the channels that have real creators, like unfortunately Simon Whistler is like one of them. Simon Whistler, love the guy. I think he's one of the greatest creators on the platform. He's got the most channels on the platform,
Hmm.
has some of the most views on the platform. But his type of videos are going to go away, right?
Hmm.
Because his entire um, thing is talking about stuff. It's talking about events. It's talking about um, things in the world. It's talking about monuments. It's talking about people.
Hmm.
All of those things, 100% of that can be fully automated.
Hmm.
And Neuro is saying I should upload some how-to videos and stuff. The reality is I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to teach people how to do that.
Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to hire me
Yeah.
to build these systems, I don't mind doing this stuff on like a one-off basis.
Yeah.
Um, but making it easy for everybody in the world to do, it's going
Yeah.
to make the system die faster. The
Yeah.
system's going to die.
Yeah.
The way that the current content system is absolutely going to come to an end
Hmm.
when it takes 15 seconds to put in a prompt,
Yeah.
and you have a 10-minute YouTube video
Hmm.
putting out does that. And because you can use automation systems,
Hmm.
things like NA-Then or Zapier or Make, to
Hmm.
string these systems together, you
Hmm.
can say, okay, this AI here creates all my ideas.
Hmm.
This AI here writes all my scripts.
Hmm.
This AI here creates all of the videos. This one here does all the voiceovers.
Hmm.
This one here does copy editing and final edit. And this one here does final edits. And this one here does upload.
Yeah.
And that entire system is entirely doable. Again, I built this 2 years ago. With the tools that are available today, the tools that are available in 3 months from now, 6 months from now, from a year from now,
Hmm.
the majority of content is going to be that, if it's not already.
Yeah, and again, going back to using YouTube as an example, because it has the most resources. It has the most besides Amazon. Amazon has its own form of resources too, but YouTube, Google has its big giant form of resources. And to say that, I mean, I don't
They
know.
built their own AI. They
Yeah,
built their own
Gemini.
AI systems. They built their own heart, not just Gemini, but the reason that Gemini is what it is
Mm,
because they built everything from the ground up,
yes.
from the hardware,
Mm,
the servers that they're running on, the silicon that they're running on,
mm,
the systems that they're putting together are designed to work with Gemini, to
mm,
work for Gemini, and putting that power behind YouTube is,
mm,
I mean, it's at some point they're going to be doing video generation just like every other major model company has been doing.
yeah.
At some point in the near future, there's going to be a feature on YouTube where you can, as a creator, create an entire YouTube video from a script,
Mm,
and you can generate the script.
mm,
So there's tools today that you can take your script, drop it into the tool, and it
mm,
creates an entire YouTube video for you,
mm.
with voiceover, with images. These tools have been around for years.
Yeah.
Very soon, it will be custom video, like you see with Sora and Kling and those
Yeah.
other
Oh,
tools.
yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah. It's gonna be because I mean, again, I do this stuff because I get to. I don't. It's not something I don't rely on. I have a full time job and all that stuff, but I don't. I'm not in it for the fame or the money or stuff. It's just getting the opportunity to talk to people like yourself and so many others is the real winner out of it. Because again, looking at other content creators I used to follow or still follow, everything is either about the movie industry, the gaming industry, politics, or some mixture of. And for me, I'm just like, there's a lot lost in just speaking. I mean, I get it. I get why there are topic centric shows, but for me, it's like the one big thing I feel like we've kind of lost is just being able to converse with each other. Right? I'm sure you've gone
Mhm.
out to grocery
100%.
stores or a restaurant, and you see people. They don't really talk too much to each other. They're sitting on the phone, or maybe you have someone dating, and it feels like what should be the most basic thing. Now, again, not everyone. I'm not gonna point to that all everyone or final words. I'm just gonna point to a big chunk of people have sort of lost the ability to speak to one another and try to build the ability to
Oh yeah.
converse, because once you're in it, once you do it, once you kind of learn out how to do it on that social aspect, it gets easier and easier. Not like super easy like you can do with your eyes closed, sort of thing. But there is an art. I guess it's all right to say there is an art form to it, but it's not as difficult as people think it is. It's just, are you going to take the opportunity to just try, right? Because for me, when I first started doing this, I was streaming like gaming and stuff, which really didn't work out that well. And then I started having people on like little like sprinkles of here and there. And more and more at that point, it was like I'm seeing this thing that's not even you have. So this is a weird thing, right? And again, I kind of use Claude to kind of talk things out as well, because sometimes you need to get out of your own head. Um, I have seen a lot of content creators who have 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 followers. And my thought is okay, I'm doing this thing. I always talk to people and I'm sorry, yeah, see this, there you go, stuff like that. Um, I see these people with a lot of followers, and it feels like, and there are risks on what I'm about to say. But my thing is, you have a lot of people with a lot of followers, and they don't really I don't know if they do or not, but it doesn't seem like they outreach to people who are following them, that they could, like, even if you just get like a small fraction of your followers to come on, right? Depending on what the total amount size is, there's a power to having a conversation with someone. It's not the end of the universe sort of thing, but there's a power to having a conversation with someone, and
For sure.
to have conversations beyond the norm of, oh, Hollywood sucks, or oh, politics sucks, or this sucks, and just go wherever that flows. Because again, I don't work on a structure, which probably is to my own detriment, but I really I do feel, and that probably is a detriment to me too. I do feel that if you make it free enough, if it's open enough, if you're able to sit down with someone and it's not a heavy burden on them to try to bring something out, you can have some of the best conversations in your life, and they don't have to be about any one thing. Hundreds to thousands of years of human history, and we're all on this 24 hour 7 aspect. I get it. I'm not here to tell people how to make content. That's not why I'm saying this. I'm saying I see this perspective, and I see like these sort of like these pennies on the ground, and people, even sometimes myself, but more than that, people see a penny in the ground, and it's not really worth picking up, because what does a penny equal? it equals a cent, right? But you have but you collect pennies more and more, and they stack up. They stack up beyond, you collect 100 pennies that equals $1 in our terms, 200 pennies, $2, so on and so forth. And for me, it's just like again, coming back to it, it feels like this lost piece of thing we used to do on the great end, frontier days, back when there wasn't much technology, whatever. And we're also kind of caught up within what's going on now. And I'm just like that it's a fantastic thing of this opportunity I get to do, and I'm always grateful for it. But it also feels sad in itself because it just feels like something's lost there, at least from this continuing to do this. Not to derail anything.
For
I'm
sure.
just trying to explain that perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree. The power of conversation is a big one, and it's why I'm saying that AI can't like take over,
Oh,
right? The
sorry.
conversation. You all right?
Wrong pipe. You try to drink water to try to satiate the dryness, and then it goes on pipe. Like,
Yep.
hello, hold on. No,
Yep.
continue. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. So there's always going to be a need to have that human connection, that
Mm,
conversation. That's
mm,
why, to me, the true future of content on platforms like this is
mm,
going to be this type of show. It's
mm,
going to be the communication between two or more people
mm.
having a true conversation about something that someone's interested in.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the Simon Whistler videos, unfortunately.
Right.
It's not going to be the general topics.
Mm,
There's going to be a handful of people who get famous do that. Of course, there's always going to be the handful, but
yeah.
the 99% majority of those videos in the near future, and they already are to some extent, are going to be AI.
Yeah.
It's going to. Most of them are already AI voiceovers.
Mm,
Even if they're cloning the voice of an actual creator,
yeah.
uh, you can't tell anymore.
Mm,
On if the you do the generation a couple times, you validate that things are good, you do some halfway decent edits
mm,
in post processing, you can't tell that it's
yeah.
not you.
Yeah. And
So,
like you said, that's gonna be the scary part.
yep,
Um,
and
um, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
soon enough,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that's what's happening.
No, I apologize. It was like I was trying to think there for a second. I had a brain fart. I hate
All
when
good.
that happens when you're trying to think of something. It's like, what was I thinking about again? Oh
It's
my
all good.
goodness. No, but again, it's just I find it from my end of things, right? I find it so fascinating that it it does have a power to it. I don't know if people see it that way. I think maybe some people see a conversation as just like, oh, whatever, but people don't understand. It's like throwing a rope across a chasm, right? You just to give people visual, right? So you have an end here and an end here, and in this you have this chasm that maybe goes down to a river, whatever. Having a conversation is like throwing a rope across to the other person, and as time goes on with this individual between you two, right, or a few people, whatever, you start building this bridge, and you don't know exactly how it's going to look, but you know if it's sturdy enough, you can cross it to each other's side. For me, and seeing all this, right, and trying to not only for myself and trying to kind of clear up of how to see the view, it's sort of like it, it's this amazing, wonderful thing that yes, there will be difficult people. I've had a few people where it's like trying to draw water from stone, really trying to draw water from stone. And then there's sometimes where it's just easy. It's like being on a floaty in the river and you just kind of go with the flow of the water. And but the power of it in the conversational part alone is can be dramatically impressive, and all these things that we kind of look to the stars to, or science fiction or all these things, because again, the thing that connects us all on some base level, because we all to some degree are on this ground floor of life, right? You have some people who are higher up. There's always going to be disparity in life. I've worked too many jobs to know that. When you can speak to people on sort of a ground floor way, there's a power to that. I can't describe it. I can't get it to a better mentioning of point, but there's a power to just having a conversation. And there's a fear to it. There's a real fear, anxiety
Sure.
to all that. But you and just trying to point it out as well is like that's where humanity is at. That's where the pinnacle of the point of when the technology comes in and it changes things, and now new jobs appear and old jobs fade away. There is there's a change that people are going to have to get used to, whether they like it or not. But the very basis of us, on the ground floor where we all can communicate on, is simply starting a conversation. I can't. It's like trying to describe a blind person the 4th of July, right? They can hear it, but they can't see the colors. They can't see the images that some fireworks create. It's so amazing, but it's so tragic too. And I I feel like I'm the crazy person here. I don't know why.
Well, it's because I think the problem is that the crazy people have taken over, and they've become the new normal. And
Right.
it's people who want to have a conversation, who want to be good people, who want to be good neighbors.
Mhm.
I think those people are the crazy people now, right?
Mhm.
Because in society today is being the person who goes up to someone in the grocery store, like
Mhm.
Neuro, like he's the crazy person. Like, who's this crazy person coming up to me in the grocery store?
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, again, there are dangers, right? There are dangers. So you kind of do have to question that, right? Like someone just comes up to you all of a sudden, you don't want them pistol whipping you or something like that. But again, there is that setting of sort of like going to, like, I think in New York, like in Central Park, they have those places where those chessboards, right? And while you could have people who aren't considered um the chess masters of the world or whatever, you could have a 7-year-old girl and a 65-year-old man playing chess, and the world is right there at that pinpoint of time where it's just them playing a game that's as old as crap, right? Chess is probably the oldest game of logic there is, unless you count like Go or whatever. I'm not sure which is the oldest game, but the point of the matter is that there's that connective tissue that creates itself. Now, obviously, that could be the only time those people cross with each other, right? I've had a few of those. I'm blocked by a few of them for some odd reason. But the point of the matter is that it's that big bang, it's that firework, it's that thing, it's that spark, it's whatever. It it comes into being in its own right. And how long it lasts is up to the individuals in that moment. Sometimes it can last for a long time. Sometimes it slowly fades away. You don't have the same sort of friends you have that you've had when you were in high school. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It varies. But again, going back to that crazy part, it drives me up to a wall when I'm sitting over here, and I go through it sometimes and trying to explain why I do this thing and how, yes, I do enjoy the bonuses. Like I have made some money off on the Rumble side. YouTube, whatever. There's not much there because I'm not monetized. But there's this thing beyond that. There's this thing that feels like a lost art, and yet it's there. It's like right there. It's a penny on the ground. It's like right there. It has so much importance, and yet it's so looked over and tossed over. And I don't know. Again, it's a comedy and a tragedy all in one go, and I'm just like, I don't. Why do I feel like I'm the one in the mental in the hospital? Why do I feel like I need to go get in a straitjacket and not come out? You're right. It's kind of it's kind of a weird thing, and I don't know. But no,
Insane people took over the asylum.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's yeah. I think it's probably as good as you're gonna get. The Mental Institute has opened, and the crazy people are in charge of it all, and that's the scary part right there. But no, I'm always grateful for people willing to take up the opportunity because I see it as a two-way street. I don't see it as a one-way street because that kind of limits what the other person can see out of it. Um, because uh, I do two other shows too. I do the Darachat, and then I do Dara's Hangout Den, which is sort of just those who've been previous guests of Darachat. And I kind of bring these people together to kind of um, in a situation, in an opportune situation of where they probably wouldn't have met these people before, or maybe never had that opportunity. Um, and sort of see what can come out of that, if anything at all. I mean, I'm not hoping for the best, but it's sort of just like a moment to meet new people. And then Rumble Squared, what I do is what I'm trying to work on is the platform has its issues and stuff, and my thing is just trying to collect data on what a big chunk of people have issues with or wish list stuff with, and because really in essence people like us, content creators, whatever, we're not really getting anything back other than beyond the updates or quarter results. And maybe they don't have to do that, but every day people give feedback and they're not really seeing like 50% out of 100,000 people said this is what they want most from a platform, that sort of stuff. And I mean,
Well,
recently,
if you want some help, I'm sure I can make that seen if you don't have that available to you yet.
well, I mean, I use Microsoft Forms to do the survey stuff.
No, who do you have at Rumble to see it when you're done with your data?
I I
If you'd
just
like,
send
I can get that to the executives.
well, there was, I don't want to say the name because I don't I'm not a person wanting to abuse power or
Sure.
whatever you want to call it. There was a lady person I was speaking to, but I haven't heard anything back from any data I've given. Now there's a gentleman I've had on before. He works for Rumble, but he just sends it off to the support team and all that stuff. And
When you're ready, message me and I'll make sure the right people see it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. This will be, so this Saturday is when it's happening, but the data won't be fully fleshed out until maybe a few days after, because I do have to go through the process of the survey results that I got from the forums, and then of course the people who are coming on Saturday to give their own personal feedback and what all that stuff. Because again, I'm Look, I am not coming at Rumble to stick a knife into them or a stake into them like a vampire.
Sure.
That's not the case. The point is, though, is that there is something lacking that could be beneficial to the people who use their platform and are creators in the platform, but they're not seeing
I agree.
they're not seeing a physicality of that data back, right? You want to see graphs. You want to see what a big chunk of people are saying they need most, right? Because it's scattered. To be honest, there are scattershot
Analytics,
voices.
you mean?
Well, yeah, I know there's analytics for like the creator dashboard, but like issue stuff. People have issues on the quality of streams, or they have wish list
Sure.
stuff of that nature. And I could show you. Sorry, I apologize. I'll pull a picture up of one of the things from um, the survey. Give me 1 second. Oh, here we go.
I'd love to see that data. I'd actually love to see the raw data.
Yeah, I'll definitely do it. I just don't want to do. I'm doing teasers right now, but once I get it all done, I'll send you
No,
the
I
full.
mean the process. Like, see, how can I help process that data?
Oh,
That's what I do.
okay. I use the Microsoft stuff because it's free. I can use the online stuff free. But
No, I mean, but what are you doing with the results of the data? How are you parsing that into something? How are you calculating results?
I
How are you tabulating?
that's where I've used clause to kind of uh summarize and do this sort of stuff, because I split it into two pieces, right? I take the raw data and I give the Rumble tech side their stuff, engineers, all that stuff, for them to understand of what's been gotten, and then I give on X, I've put it on X, Twitter X, for the everyday man to understand, because you have those two pieces. Well, Rumble, you send a Rumble report, you get that, they get that feedback, right? but they don't. But the other side doesn't get that. So that's what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to take that same raw data and translate it so that's understandable for the everyday man, because Rumble's not giving that to them. Rumble's not giving it to the viewers and the creators. They're just taking their bit and then working on that process to better the platform. But people need to see something physically in order to understand. Maybe not fully understand, but to have something to chew on, a gristle, right? To chew the cud, sort of thing. Um, but I mean, again, just speaking on the tools I use, nothing is just Microsoft Forms. I use Claude to kind of summarize and stuff, and that's basically it. I do ask um, like help from some people, like to test out the surveys to see if it flows well or not, and to kind of go over stuff. But I'm basically I'm not doing it by myself, but the majority of it I am doing it by myself, because
So
nothing.
if you're open to suggestion, there's a
Yeah.
couple of things that you could do to make that process, say, have a little bit more high quality result.
Okay.
Um, so you can do the exact same thing as you're doing and utilize AI to extract standard structured data.
Mm-hmm.
So the questions that you're asking and the things that you're asking, turn
Mm-hmm.
those into fields, like
Mm-hmm.
or columns in a spreadsheet,
Mm-hmm.
and then you utilize the AI to extract the answers for every one of those columns from every survey result,
Mm-hmm.
and then put them in the table.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have a table where every row is a survey result and every column is a question or an insight,
Mm-hmm.
a question answered by Claude, basically. Um, and then you can tally the results, right? So if you have 10 entries in the I require this column,
Mm-hmm.
then you would say that this is a higher thing than something that has one thing in that column.
Thank you, Slidey Pie. I appreciate it. So, yeah, no, again, I'm probably gonna be asking a lot of questions later on. But to show one of the things that Form does, it does sort of give a graph. Oh, did it not? No, don't do that. Um, there we go. Is that up? There we go. So this is from the viewer. Uh, this is from a teaser. So I'm just giving you an example of one. This is from a teaser. This is a graph that they do because they have a summary sheet on forms, and but again, I know I use how I do it is I use the survey data to I don't know what the word is to inform the next survey, sort of like improve the next survey and the next survey, that sort of thing. Um,
Sure.
and I'm sorry, I know what you were saying.
So,
I apologize.
so,
Okay.
so you're saving all the data, or and
Yes.
you're tallying the data. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Hmm.
And you're using AI to create insights, like
I
content in relation to that.
I think I've saved one of the documents. Hold on, so I can at least give you an idea. Instead of just telling you, I will physically show you
Sure.
one of the previous ones because it's better to show than say, as they say. Document. So let me find one of the previous ones. Okay. Uh, this was to. Oh, here we go. This was to the Rumble side. I need to get back to my. Um, Here we go. Here, this was to the Rumble side. So this this is from the previous one. This is from the last one, which is I only used one survey instead of splitting it into two. But this part was going to the Rumble side, and this was using Claude to kind of get the percentages and whatnot. Um, Here we go. So this is from the last one. This is from last month, and this was the one survey. And of course, I took directly from the Excel sheet because how Forms does it is it gives you the graph stuff in the forms, but it does have a Excel sheet where where all the raw data is.
Got it.
Um,
Cool. Okay, got
yeah,
it.
yep. So sort of like that, but it'll be different because again, there's now a creator survey and a viewer survey, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Um,
Perfect.
but yeah, I use Claude to kind of like because Rumble has engineers, techs, developers, all this stuff. I need to be put it in a way that it helps them understand because they're speaking a different language than you or I on a regular basis speak, right? An everyday person.
For sure.
So they need to have that translation for themselves. Same with the everyday person. They need to have a translation for the everyday person to understand, because some people don't understand tech. That's why you have scammers who are easily able to convince people to give them money because they don't understand, oh, how does a printer work, or stuff like that. So I split it into two different sections, but I'm still using the same raw data in order to take from, right? I'm not splitting up the data. I'm just splitting the
Sure.
translation of the data, if that makes sense. Um,
Of course.
and but again, this is for the Rumble side that goes to the Rumble team. I don't know if it does previously, because I never got feedback on asking how they wanted it to them. And no, that's the Excel sheet. Don't want to use the Excel sheet.
Let me see about what I can do about getting a conversation for you.
Okay. Oh no, I apologize. That might not have been the one that was for. Um, oh, I hope I didn't mess that up and showing you the wrong one. Because there was so the so the one I showed you, I think the one I showed you was for the everyday person. So I apologize. That was the wrong one. This one is the one of where I sent back to the Rumble side. So I do apologize about that. Let's bring it up. Yes, this is the one. This is the one that went to the Rumble side. And I know it's not very clear because there's like stuff that was I didn't ask the right questions in explaining, so there might be some mix up. But this has to do with Rumble
Sure.
Studio. Um, you have the mobile stuff, you have the core platform stuff, and all that. This is for the tech side of the people, and this was the one from the last one. So, but yeah, this is how I had Claude try to put it into terms that there was understandable to them, to the pinpoints of what people were on, all sorts of stuff. Maybe not in the done it in the best way, but at least I tried to at least do something with. Because again, I'm
Yeah, looks
90.
really nice.
Thanks, I'm trying, but this is I'm basically at 90%. I've had a lot of help from different people, but 90% of it is basically on me trying to do that. And I'm trying to figure out like I'm using the technology, the tools that are out there to make it better. I'm using Microsoft Forms and all this stuff to kind of have an easy efficiency of sort of thing, not being lazy with it, but trying to not being as stressful or whatever, because I really want to do this thing that will maybe help both parties. So to be true to honest of why I'm doing this. One is I have two ways of winning about this, right? One way I win is I do all this data stuff, and it at least earns me a seat at the discussion table with Rumble, right? Because I mean I know tech stuff, but at least in this data feedback stuff, right? If not that,
Mhm.
then at least I get to learn, okay, how to do a survey, how to use these tools that are out there. I kind of learn of how to learn this new skill, and all this stuff. I learn a skill along this process. So if I can't with the one which is the ultimate goal, I can still at least learn a new skill, and I maybe translate it elsewhere. But the ultimate goal is try to at least get the seat at the table to have a conversation, because I do think that uh, we on the outside don't know those discussions. We won't be in the meetings. We won't hear what they're talking about or what they're focusing on, what the roadmap is, or whatever. And that can be very dismal to people who are on the outside. Like your stream quality is bad, your chat stuff is bad, all this stuff. And those people really don't give much data. They just give vague answers. But it's the communication thing. That's what I'm trying to get at. Is the communication thing between creator, viewer, and Rumble the company. Disparity right here. And that's what I'm trying to do, some form of a bridge, even though there's probably more in a possibility as ever. But I'm sort of trying to create, using this data, I'm trying to create a bridge so that people can get the data back. Then they give that feedback to the surveys. And they finally get to see a physical thing so that they can chew on the cud. They can use that data to help them to point out and say, hey, 1,000 people or 500 people said this thing was more important than the other, and sort of this stuff. and all that. But it's very janky. It's very it's very all over the place because again, I'm doing this from a place of never even trying to do. I'm challenging myself with doing this at all because I've never done something like this before, and I've had help along the way. I've talked to a few people and all this stuff, but it's still very much a work in progress over time, but it will get better. It will evolve to get better because people need. I really believe that people on the viewer, creator, and user side need that see that data. They need something. They need instead of just hearing silence at times from Rumble or answers to something else. They need to see the data of okay, a big chunk of people say that streaming quality needs to be worked on, or this or that or whatever, and I just many people can have a roundtable, but I'm not seeing many people try to go to this level for data. So there's that. A little long, I apologize, but yeah.
No, no, I like it. I think it's a great mission.
And again, I'm not doing Rumble Square to get the most amount of views or money out of it, whatever. It's just trying to answer a heard call in a way people want to see something returned. We're giving you our feedback, Rumble. We're giving you our feedback. But what are we getting in return? Well, you're getting updates. Okay, that's great, but where are we at on all this stuff? There's a discommunication part. And I'm not trying to attack. I'm not trying to it's just trying to have this flow of communication be better. And now, at least to some degree, depending on how people take the survey, some form of people will finally get to see some data back, and it feels like a need is getting filled to some degree. I'm not sure, that's more of an internal feeling really, but finally people are getting like, oh, the percent of people said this and all that stuff. It's
Yeah,
yeah.
so I've spent a lot of time in the software world, and
Hmm.
having a product team that can do that, can have that external communication, and be able to communicate both in and out, right? It's like accepting the communication, the feedback, and applying it, and
Hmm.
explaining what's going on and being open about it.
Yeah.
Um, it's a difficult balance,
Yeah.
especially when the company is public and their
Hmm.
stocks, because conversations about something can actually change stock values.
Yeah,
So
and I
public
understand that.
statements on
Mhm.
roadmaps and not meeting them, and not meeting expectations can lead to lower stock values.
Mhm.
Um, Meeting them too early can cause spikes in those things. Again,
Mhm.
that can be good or bad depending on
Yeah.
who you're talking to. Like,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of factors at play.
Mhm.
So I've seen it. I've experienced it. I've been on those teams, and
Mhm.
I've heard from a lot of clients of software, like similar to yourself talking about Rumble,
Mhm.
uh, where they wish that they had more of a voice
Yeah.
in the business. And it is a back and forth thing that will always happen. And I'm
Mhm.
sure that once they understand what you've done and what you're working on, they'll be very happy to see that and work with you and put something on that.
That's again that's the true ultimate goal. I don't care about editors picks. I don't care about favoritism. I don't care about getting some extra thing out of it. I care about there's this thing that's being said aloud and it feels like it's not getting answered. And it's like you saying, it's probably to their detriment because they have a lot of moving parts, and maybe it's all this different stuff. I don't I only understand a small fraction of it. Takes a lot to run a video hosting site. It takes a lot of resources, finances, manpower, the knowledge manpower, right? Not physical, but the knowledge manpower to
Sure.
run a thing. It probably takes billions of dollars to run YouTube, just as it is now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I can only see the picture of the side that's on this side because I don't get involved with that information. I'm not saying I'm some perfect communicator either. I've made my slip ups. I will admit to that. But the data, The data is where you can go and say, okay, you can rely on that data as best as possible because nothing's truly 100%. But you can go to at least that data and say, okay, I'm seeing this thing, whatever on that remark, because that's where the discussion can be on, not on scattershot voices that are just few here and there, and maybe only see their part with the agreement and bias and all that stuff, and all that. But now with something that viewers and creators can get something back in return, and they can at least see a small fraction, right? Over 200 responses is nothing compared to the millions and thousands on a scale that surveys do. But just a small fraction is enough. Just a crack in the door is enough for people to say, okay, and kind of maybe quell something, maybe give some relief to something. It's that communication factor, like earlier, and I'm imperfect, I'm flawed, but there's something there that says it's got to have a try, and I'm trying, at least.
Absolutely, I think it's a great idea.
So, but I try to be transparent about it. I know there are some people who will question, like, okay, the data, all that stuff, and I'm just like, look, dude, I'm here to do this thing because I'm not seeing anyone else do it. Yes, I do a roundtable sort of thing, but tell me, look upon all the creators that are doing a roundtable. Can you tell me how far they're going to collect data? You can have Chris, you can have Rick show up in your stream, but who's out there, a creator nonetheless, collecting data on this scale? Not a big scale, mind you, but on this scale. Tell me who's doing it. Please. I'll work with them. But who's doing it?
For the platform, I don't think there's anybody.
And that's the thing too. You won't see it. You may try to see a Hangle filled something with YouTube, but it's an ocean. Twitch, probably in the same arena. Maybe you'll get something with Kick because it's still small. But it's like at a scale that, Rumble is still being as young as it is, even though it's, almost hitting that midway point that YouTube is at. Stupid net. But it's just like I can't look upon all these other creators, and they don't have to, right? Content creation is for whatever one you want to do. But if you're gonna run a round table, and all you're doing is having discussions. Hey, give me Chad. All you're doing is having discussions on the stuff that's going on. You're not collecting the voices. You're not getting the data that's most important, that dissuades all the scattershot voices that are so disorienting and so scattershot. That you'll think that a big chunk agree with you. But with this data, that may not be the case. And to give a good example, right? I'm not saying this is the finale of it or whatever, but just say I've heard a lot of people talk about channel points, right? And of course, there are some people who are making bots who are doing channel point stuff. But what if the data I collected, and I'm not going to give anything away, what if the data I collected show that may not be the case? Or it could be the case. But people won't know until they see it. And sometimes seeing is believing, sometimes it's not, some people will dissuade that. It's just a lot of scattershot. It's just a lot of dandelion to the wind at this point. And the data may help, the data may surprise. I don't know, but I'm willing to say right now, I'm willing to improve to the betterment of. I'm willing to at least try to figure out how to do this better, at least using the previous data at hand to kind of grow these things. And I'm willing to at least let the data speak for itself. Because the emotional outrage, the emotional frustration, all stuff, I get that. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
But that does not move the conversation forward. That doesn't help in other manners of speaking. Using this data right here, I don't have to worry about, are they transparent or not, or whatever. I can simply point to data. It may be a small fraction, but I'm telling you right now, a big chunk of people say this, and that may be a better point to focus. Don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a try at
Totally
something.
agree.
Yeah, it's a try at something. And Yeah, it's worth trying to do. Whether whether one way I win or whether the other way I win, it's worth trying to do because people, they may not say it out loud, but people need something physical, visual to see in return to know that hey, their feedback's being heard, and a lot of others are too, and you'll get to see how much agrees with you or doesn't agree with you, and that'll cut a lot of the mystery out, or what's another term for it? Not mystery, but I guess mystery. I guess we'll just, or the fog. It'll cut out a chunk of that fog out, and there will be a little sunlight. A little sunlight. Yeah, thank you, Neuro. I appreciate it. It's it's hard enough trying to get people on for the show itself rather than doing the survey itself.
It's
So
all a job, right? It's it's a job until it pays off, and then it doesn't feel like a job anymore.
I don't. I, again, all the stuff I do with Darachat, Dara's Hangout down at Rumble Squared. I view it as, I view it, and these are the only 3 shows I'm going to do. I'm not going to add any more shows or whatever. I mean, my pay it forward stream may be something of itself, but that's more special. I view these 3 things as the only three things I want to do because adding more just adds more mental stress, and I don't need that. I already have a full-time job. I don't need more than that, and I don't have to do any of this. None of the conversational stuff, none of the opportune with other people, or none of the Rumble Square stuff. But there's something there. There's something there I can't walk away from, and yeah, that's about as best as I can say it. Is that there's stuff there I can't walk away from, and how great is that? I think it's pretty
Yeah,
fantastic,
for sure.
even if it's draining. So sorry about that. I know it's trying to explain a lot, but I don't want to. I know
No,
you
you're
have.
good, man.
So well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying.
I might know a guy who knows a guy who might be able to get that to the right person.
I will take whatever help will at least. I may not be perfect in my explanations. I may not be doing it in the right way that they have an understanding of this stuff, but I'll tell you what, the data is there and the people are willing to give it. To over 200 people, over 200 responses I got for both, for the total of both. There's something there. There's something
Yeah, for
there.
sure.
So, but and apologies also as well. It is getting to the top of the hour again. It's almost 2 hours, and we're going to start winding down because again, I do have to set up for tomorrow's stream, and I do have a job in the morning. So, but no, I do appreciate you coming on in Scriptus and listening to the ravings of a madman. It seems.
Yeah, no worries, man. It was fun.
Oh
Good
no,
conversation.
yeah, and yeah, and so we'll do, so like last time we'll do the self promotion stuff, and there will be a few things more. And of course, I do a wrap up after the show for the premium thing. Just showing how I set up for the next show. If anyone wants to stay for that, if you're Rumble Premium, if not, that's fine. You'll still get the full show. But anyway, we're gonna self promotion, and then we're gonna go from there. So, Inscriptus, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So you can find me at agentguru_io on X. If you need any AI agents, custom AI systems built, reach out.
Yeah, he's a really smart dude for what all he's doing. Because I'm certainly feeling like some of that went over my head. So. just a little bit. I was like, what is he saying again? So yeah, but no, it's yeah, definitely go check him
Kind of
out
a
because
nerd.
yeah, well, hey, you know what? Sometimes you need people like that. But are you still working on the files, or are you done with those?
I'm still working on those. There's some more work to do in the software that I'm building to make it function, and
Mm,
then it needs to run for weeks.
mm. Okay, yeah, because I remember that's, I think one of the last posts I saw on your channel was like you were working at least either the JFK or the Epstein ones. I couldn't remember which, but no, hopefully.
It's actually the same software. It's working on both at the same time because
Oh,
it's the same. Yeah, it's just extraction software.
Mhm.
turns it into structured data,
Mhm.
and then makes it available for the LLMs to use.
Nice. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. So hopefully, that finishes out well because I know there's what like 80,000 pages for the JFK ones. I think that's what they said.
There's there's 80,000 original pages,
Oh, okay.
and then there's 80,000 more pages.
Jeez. I just thought it was the 80,000. I didn't know it'd be more than that. Jeez.
To be fair, it's 80,000 documents. It's not 80,000 pages.
Oh, okay.
Some documents have 500 pages.
Jeez Louise. That's insane. More power to you, though. Thank goodness you're using tools. Otherwise, it'd probably tear your hair out at that point. Um,
Yeah.
but like I said, his link is down below, and of course, thank you, Neuro, for posting into the chat. And of course, you can always replay this and find the links themselves. And I'll try to add the. There you go. Sign up for the software and script to work on. There you go. There's that. Eric Connolly. There you go. And those will be in that as well. And if Neuro, if you can send me the other links later, I'll try to add them to the video on both ends. So there's that. But for my end of things, right, whether you're on the Rumble side, whether you're on the YouTube side, doesn't matter which side you're on. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing the content, leaving a comment or follow, anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated because again, not only does it help in being seen more, like all content creators want to be seen more, obviously, but it also has helps in having other people on as guests, like Inscriptus, like Anna's Gameland, like Tomby, like so many other people. Over 180 different guests. It's insane. My next milestone is 200 varied guests, and we're almost there. But any help with the engagement factor on either end is much appreciated. And of course, there's a link down below: Twitter X, email, link to like my DMs in Discord. But that's pretty much it. I can only handle so much social media stuff. So you can go down that link, find me at those places. And if you'd like to take up the opportunity, come on yourself, there's a comment section down below or the link. Either way, any help with the engagement factor and that link down below. I appreciate you all, of course, for being here. And of course, thank you for being here as well there in Scriptus. And of course, you're always welcome to come back too. But for the next bit is that tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, of course, is my 50-second Pay It Forward stream. So for those who don't know, the Pay It Forward stream is so the original story time. The basis of the Pay It Forward stream is sort of based off what Chris, the CEO, and Flawed TV did a long time ago. They did a Rumble raid. They're giving like 10K, around to different creators. I don't have that kind of money. But that was sort of the originality of it. And they went around. Now, there were a few stipulations they gave people, but I go around to like the whole of the Rumble live stream pages, and I kind of like choose one person each if I can. Sometimes it's just all 24/7 streams, and I don't do much with that. But I give encouraging words, maybe give a dono here and there. I just kind of give back to the Rumble community because, and I do stream it to YouTube as well because I think people, instead of maybe relying on Rumble to show off its stuff, kind of be the one that kind of shows it off. I just do it to give back, to be honest. But that's tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. But of course, I am joined by previous guest Tiny Panda Face, and she will be joining me in the festivities. And of course, we'll do a little chat afterwards too. But 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow for the 50-second Pay It Forward stream. So I thank you all for that. We built the city. I do like that song, yes. But the last thing I do with my guest is something called Questions from Hat. Now, obviously, I bought the hat from Rumble, and I've put some questions inside it. So how this works is that you, my guest, get 2 freebie questions. Now, obviously, I'm not monetized on YouTube, so YouTube side, out of luck. If you're on the Rumble side, though, if you want another question pulled out of the hat, all you have to do is give a rant for that. Doesn't matter the amount. I've had people spam me $1 before. The highest amount I've gone is like 22 questions out of a hat. So there's that. I think that was with a Dara's Hangout down with Panda Sub, Hans Diamond Ball, and Tooth Entertainment. So if you want to, that's fine. If not, my guest gets 2 freebies. So here we go for the first one. I'm not even looking inside the hat. I'm just feeling around like they do with the bowl of wet noodles. And at least this is a lot drier though. But anyway, here is the first one. And we're going to see what this says. First question is, what's your favorite way to unwind after a long day? And this is for you.
Let's see, the best way to unwind after a long day.
Hmm.
Probably watching YouTube videos.
Really? What do you usually watch?
Random things that don't have any consequence, right?
Hmm.
Like maker videos,
Hmm.
like blacksmithing,
Oh.
or I don't know, some woodworking video, or
Hmm.
something random, something that is brainless, allows my brain to go to sleep.
That's awesome. I actually have talked to someone here on Rumble who does blacksmithing of sorts. So, yeah. Uh, best part about having conversations with others is you usually find people who do all sorts of stuff. So,
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
oh yeah, but no, yeah, I can understand that because I admit I still watch videos over on YouTube because it's just Rumble's not up to par on their algorithmic state of recommendation and stuff, and
Correct.
getting their stuff out there, and that's a detriment to himself because again, YouTube will stay king of the platforms until someone can do shorts, do live streams, and do edited video content. All 3 of those because YouTube set the standard. And either you find a new way of doing things or you try to do in that manner of those 3 things. And they still have a long way to go. And it's a detriment to themselves. I know they're trying different variances of things, but they've got a ways to go, unfortunately. All right, well, here's question number 2. This will be the last one unless someone gives a rumble rant. And the question is, this is an easy one. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Hell no. It is 3 o'clock in the morning where
Yeah,
I am right now.
yeah.
And I am going to be going back to working on what I was working on before the stream for
Mhm.
another hour or 2 before I go to bed.
Wow. So mostly more night owl then, huh?
Yeah, I work, generally speaking, all day long, right
Mm-hmm.
through bed,
Mm-hmm.
12, 14, 16, 18 hours a day on average. And
Wow.
I wake up, I have my coffee with my wife, do the
Mm.
things I need to do with family.
Nice.
Got a bunch of kids. And then I go back to work. And then I do that until I've got meetings, and I do that until I go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I do that every single day.
Wow. Well, I mean, you are doing very high technical stuff, so there is that. But man,
And I love
that's
it. There's no complaint. This
mm,
is, and I work for myself, so it's not like I'm slave
that
drivers or anything.
I've talked to a few other people who are like that too that want to work for themselves because look, I work in 9 to 5. I mean, I'm grateful for it. It allows me to do this. It also allows me to do my pay it forward. It also allows me to buy equipment. Not when I
For
need
sure.
to, but in the emergency state, because I did have to replace some motherboard on my computer a while back. Um, but I would like to rely on that less. I still would have a part-time job because all this is fallible. All it takes is the power to go out for good,
For
and
sure.
you don't have it anymore. So, but no, I like you. I again, I enjoy being able to take up this opportunity to talk to people and give the same opportunity back because again, it's like it feels like a lost art. It feels like something that once was a great treasure, and now it's sort of like buried beneath the earth, miles down, and we're up here on the surface on a very shallow scale. Not to say everyone, but on the feeling of, on the lookout of, that sort of thing. Um, Self-employed is where was that? Self-employed is the way to go if you can. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people a lot of people are trying to do the content creation out thinking it will take them there, but there are so many other options. And that's another thing too, is people shouldn't limit themselves on the option scale. Sometimes it's understandable you want to work within a confined space or not, but there are so many opportunities around you if you just know where to look, or if you're willing to be open to them. Not something that's detrimental or harmful or whatever. Those aren't opportunities. Those are more like self harms, but just opportunities of exploration and learning and growth and all this stuff. It could come in any size and any view, but I tell you what, the opportunity is there if you're willing to take it, and that's the most important part to remember, at least from what I've learned. So, but anyway, guys, again, thank you all for being here. If you are a Rumble Premium user, I will be doing something that's a little 30, 45 minutes after my wrap up. You're welcome to stay if you wish. If not, this is the show. And again, thank you, Inscriptus, for coming on. I know you're a busy dude, but I'm glad I got the opportunity to talk to you. So, and I look forward to doing it again whenever that opportunity arises. So thank you again for coming on. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
And beyond that, I do end the show. At least this main part. The wrap up will be later. I end the show with. Hold on, I gotta find the video. It's always that. Where is it at? Hold on. Did they mix up my videos? I think they. Or I'm mixed up. I don't. Gosh dang it. There, yeah, they did. I think they did reorganize. Okay. Apologies. Anyway, so I end my show with One Day With You by Pogo. And if you want to see more of his Pogo's work, there's a link down below to his channel on YouTube. All the videos I use are in that sort of thing. And he does make some great stuff, although he's not been out for a while, so it's been quite some time. But anyway, guys, 7 p.m. tomorrow, 50-second pay it forward stream with my guest, Tiny Panda, joining me. Thank you again, my chat. Thank you again, Inscriptus. I hope to see you all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your night. See you soon, Rumble Premium users. Bye.
Good man.